Damn. Mm. Ugh. There I go. I just put it in the link in the comment section now. Sorry about that, guys. You guys could go ahead and come back in now. I got it fixed.
All right, there we go.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. I'm glad you guys were able to come back. Yeah. Sorry about that minor inconvenience, guys. My internet's acting stupid today.
Yeah, it's all right.
When you left out, when you leave out of a live hangout, you have exactly 30 seconds to get back in.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to get back in, but my somehow my modem went down, and I was trying to diagnose it and see what the hell was going on with it, and then I finally got it fixed. But by the time I actually got it fixed, it was too late.
It was past 30 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's too late.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. Did you by any chance get that video pillbox?
Yes. Is there any part in the video that actually has evidence, or is it just like animations of what they believe was this so-called feathered dinosaur?
No, that was the actual evidence that was a relative of the Velociraptor.
Right. Well, that's what I'm asking. What is the evidence of the actual claim?
Well,
the fossils they found.
The fossils that they had found.
Right. And what part of the video shows those fossils?
Is it a long video?
Huh?
Is it a long video to watch?
Like, no, it's only a minute long. Here, I'll post it again, Rose. You check it out too.
I mean, okay. Because I can't be any. If I get out of this room, it's probably going to kick me out. But I'll try it. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, it will kick you out.
All right, Rose. I'm going to post it in the side chat, the chat that I actually know where it's at. All right, go ahead. It's right there.
Okay. I'll have to come back in.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Angry Hairpiece, did you see the video?
I did not watch it. I was fucking trying to get into this thing.
Oh.
I am computer illiterate, and I barely found the chat only because it started coming up in my status bar. Little things like so-and-so said whatever.
Yeah.
And then I saw the picture of the Velociraptor on it, and I figured that was the video.
Did you see the video I put in the side chat?
I did.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've seen something like it before. I mean,
they said this. They said that this relative of the Velociraptor what did they say? They said something along the lines about the size of a turkey.
Yeah, the Microraptor.
No, this wasn't a Microraptor. This one's a bigger raptor.
Right.
The Microraptor is pretty fascinating too because it gets a little bit closer to your the size of your like parrots and stuff.
Right. And a Velociraptor was basically, you know, I mean, the size of a goat.
Probably about that size, and from what I understood, they hunted in packs too.
Yeah.
You can see when Jurassic World first, you know, or Jurassic Park first came onto the scene, they actually got the Velociraptor incorrect.
Oh yeah, because hey, face it, a goat-sized turkey-looking thing isn't that scary.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to make it a big lizard-looking thing.
Yeah.
That's what fits the, you know, people's image of a dinosaur, so that's what they ran with.
Yeah.
Right. There's no feathers in the fossil, though. They added on feathers.
No,
I just looked at the fossil.
there are feathers.
No, there's not feathers there.
Dude,
No,
They have a. There's no feathers in the fossil.
maybe
No,
not.
what they said.
There's no feathers in the fossil, though.
Pillbox. What they said was that there was. What did they say? What's that word? Angry hairpiece quills in it or something like that.
There were where the quill is attached to the bone,
Yeah.
just like on a turkey.
Right, but we see those same strings in normal reptiles, though, with no feathers.
No, we don't.
There's no feathers in the fossil, though. It's all pseudoscience, guys.
But there are feather imprints in the fossils.
No, not in the fossil. You can look at the fossil of the guys.
Maybe not that fucking fossil, but fossils.
Okay.
There are fossils.
Okay, listen, guys. Here's my point. If you guys got evidence for a fossil dinosaur with feathers, I'm open for it. But it's all been debunked.
That Archaeopteryx, remember the one you were talking about earlier, how it was a hoax and all that?
Right, that's just one of. There's been many of them.
Wait. The hoax wasn't that they carved the feathers in it. The hoax was that they cut two fucking dinosaurs in half and attached the bottom of one to the top of the other. But both of those fucking things had feathers. And there were imprints of feathers
they don't
in
have
the fossil.
feathers, guys. I know. Listen, you can clearly see feathers.
They didn't carve those feathers.
I know. There's no feathers in the fossils, though, guys. You're just imagining it. You can look at it and think there's feathers.
We're talking about the quills.
Yeah,
No,
there's no feathers, guys.
I'm talking about the fucking Archaeopteryx, I think it was. The one he was talking about earlier that was a hoax.
Yeah,
You
I know
can
that there's no feathers on reptiles,
with your
guys.
eyes. That
I know, but
feathers
listen, I know, but think of it this way. We have 10,000 different species of reptiles. We have 20,000 different species of birds. There's no in-betweens alive today, guys. It doesn't work. And there's not, the fossil record shows dead dinosaurs.
You know why? But you know why?
Why is that?
Because they went extinct.
Right, so they did so well, they lived, but then they got killed, right? But we still have all these thousands of other animals that are still alive.
Drastic fucking
I know,
change
I know.
on the
It's
planet.
in your mind. It's in your mind, buddy.
No,
There's no
it's-
evidence for any of this. It's a pseudoscience religion.
You're right. Yeah.
It's a religion, bro.
It's all just made up.
I've done this for
You're
8 years.
right.
Yeah, I've done this for a decade,
sure.
bro. I used to believe it.
Yeah, I know.
When you ever if you
Ken Hobart
guys,
is a fucking genius, right?
guys, you just showed me the picture of a fossil of a dinosaur. There's no feathers on it.
I didn't.
In the video,
Wait.
they show you a fossil with no feathers.
What does Kent Hovind have to do with fossils and feathers? Can you stay on one subject without... that didn't even make sense. That was weird.
That's where he's getting his information. So, I mean,
No, I'm looking at the picture of a fossilized dinosaur with no feathers, and you use the imaginations of evolutionary biologists that
wait,
add
the
feathers
key word
onto
there
it,
is
and then they
a
make their
picture.
pictures, and you believe it. Yes, that's
you're
not how
looking at
biology works,
a
guys.
Picture.
I know, guys, it's a scam. I know, it's a scam. I'm
Who-
sorry that the government lied
How
to
is
you.
it
I'm
a
sorry
scam?
that
And what are they getting at?
because you believe
A
it.
scam
You
is
believe
religion.
in
You go to a
fictitious
place every week and you
creatures.
give them money. That's a fucking
Yes, that's
scam.
what you do. Yes, you pay
Who
tax
did-
dollars to teach this bullshit to people. It's ridiculous.
What?
Guys, I'm sorry.
Who's
Evolution's been
coming up on
disproven. It's
that?
called science. All you have to do is pay attention to reality.
Angry, you're
Who's coming
with
up on that
shit out your
scam?
ass. You're coming up with shit coming out your ass too. Like, dude, that's what you're talking.
Who is?
You listen to this is recorded. Go back and listen to how you
Okay.
sound right now. That's all. Give me some advice.
Don't go by my voice.
Not your voice. I said go back and listen to yourself.
I know what I said.
Okay. So does everybody else. And what
Okay.
you're saying doesn't make sense.
He's saying that he sees a picture that doesn't have feathers, and therefore there can't
No.
possibly be any feathers.
No, he's been doing this for 10 years. I'm pretty sure
Has
he's not
he?
going off of one picture. Yeah.
And he hasn't run into any fossils where there are feathers, or where a dinosaur is blatantly laying down over a clutch of eggs, like protecting it with little tiny scrawny arms out to its side that couldn't possibly cover the egg if they didn't have feathers. I mean,
Well,
he's
you're-
never
you're
seen
making-
that.
You're hypothetically thinking that.
No, that's a fact. The way the dinosaur is laying on the eggs suggests that it had to have feathers. Well, there are no feathers on that fossil. So you only have to go by what it looks like. And the fact that the animal can't possibly cover the eggs in its, if it didn't have feathers, tells you it had feathers.
I'm not saying what you're saying isn't true. I don't know, but what you're saying doesn't make sense.
I only caught half of that.
You can't say that. Yes, they have feathers. That's not a fact. Yes.
I don't think I could say that if I tried.
Okay. Anyway, somebody's phone is like making this loud noise.
I don't think it's mine.
Here, I'll mute myself. Yeah, it was that dude. Whoever just muted himself. It was that guy. Unmute yourself, Grant.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you.
Okay, now what were you saying?
I was just pointing out what you said. I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm not going to dismiss anything everybody says just to dismiss it. I'm listening to what you say. You said that the fossil suggests that the dinosaur was covering its eggs with feathers to protect it. But that's a suggestion. That's not a fact. You don't know that. It's a suggestion that could be a possibility, but that doesn't make it a fact. Plus, you should have 3 facts. You should have 3 different points of information to even come up with a fact. You can't base a fact on a suggestion.
No, but I'm saying that's one fossil. That one fossil suggests that they had feathers. But then there's that other fossil, that one of the Archaeopteryx, the one where they took 2 fossils and hooked them, they connected them together. Those actually have feathers. You can see the imprints of the feathers in the clay.
But then why take
or in the rock? I guess it's rock now.
Can you see it on my picture right now?
There,
do you see
right
the feather
there.
imprints? Do you see the feather imprints coming
Those
off
are
of
fucking
the
feathers.
They're right
You can't
there.
see the feathers? That's a fossil with feathers. At the
Yes.
bottom, underneath the arm, underneath
Right
what
there.
looks like an arm, you can see those little dark area. That's feathers.
If the person that has the fossil up, if he could stop talking for a minute, I can see it.
I'll keep on talking because I'm the one that's got the fossil up, so you can see the feathers coming off of it. They're coming off of the arm.
Okay.
Actually, you can see it better when you're not talking because
when you're not
sorry.
talking.
Because the bar. Or actually, just hit the screen and bring it up to where. Yeah, and you can see those are feathers. Absolutely.
I'm not dismissing that. I'm just saying what you were saying. That it's a suggestion, not a fact.
But I'm saying that was one example.
Hey, Rose.
of a. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, Rose.
Hey.
I got another link I'd like you to check out in the description too. Here it is. I mean, in the side chat. Hold on. There it is, right there.
Okay. What? All right.
It's about the Velociraptor.
Okay. Well, I'm not the professional on this. I haven't been studying this for 10 years. I don't study this kind of stuff. I mean, if you say it is, then I don't know.
No,
I would think that you would look into it and base your facts surrounding by that. So, I mean, you know.
I'm not a biologist either. I'm just saying.
I can't say you're wrong, but I wouldn't base something on just a picture. You'd really have to look into it. But you know, I'm not saying you're wrong though.
What this link that I just provided you is a complete article about the Velociraptor.
Oh, okay, all right.
What I was saying though is I'm not trying to persuade you to do anything. You know, I just wanted you to look at it.
Oh yeah, I'm down to look at it, but I can't say either or. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah,
I would just like to know your opinion on it. You know, that's basically.
Well, my opinion on the dude that had the fossil that he was showing, and that, to me, it looked real. I mean, I don't know. I can't verify what museum that's in and who's the archaeologist that dug it up. I'd have to go do all that first.
Yeah.
But it looked like it. Yeah. But I would have, like I said, I'd have to side check the facts also with that.
Yeah, because see, a lot of the misconceptions that a lot of people had about the Velociraptor was the fact that they said that it had claws. They weren't actually claws; they were talons.
Right, like dew claws on the feet.
Like eagle talons.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they were feathered and they hunted in packs. And I recently watched a documentary about the Velociraptor, and they had found evidence in some of the bones that suggested that they hunted in packs, because when they examined the bones, they found multiple gashes within the bones of these animals, you know. And
yeah, from the talons.
Yeah.
Right, gotcha. Mm-hmm.
There's a better shot of it that's scooted back just a little bit,
there
so you can get the whole
better.
thing in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
There's some feathers.
Well, see, you're talking, I can't see it.
If you click the screen to where it brings up the 3 little dots, you can see it better.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's a possibility. I would just have to look into the museum. I'd have to look at the person who dug it up. I'm just being reasonable. I'm not saying it's not true.
I can't fault you for that, you know.
Yeah.
Believe nothing of what you hear and half of what you see.
Right. I always do fact checks and stuff like that. So I will do that though, and I'll see you.
Here's the source from the BBC. Whoops, I should have put a space.
It'd be nice if you could flip that upside down.
Oh, is it facing the wrong way?
Well, it's just the bar with all the faces is covering it up.
Ah, okay. Yeah, let me change that real quick. Flip it.
Oh, there we go. See that middle one?
There we go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That looks amazing there. I like that position better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Yep, and you could see the talons and everything, man.
Or the claws? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it did have claws. I mean, even an emu has claws.
Well, he said it didn't have claws. He said it had talons.
Well, they do.
Claws are retractable. Talons.
No. Well.
Right.
Yeah, those are talons right there.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess that's almost semantics. Because my dog's claws don't fucking retract.
But when the claws are down,
Yeah, I really like. Yeah, I like that position right there, man.
I gotta go.
See See these claws? They don't retract or nothing.
Oh,
The
okay.
the cats do.
Cat.
The cats
Yeah.
do,
Cats
but
do,
yeah, but they're still claws.
but
I have
puppies
two
don't.
claws. Okay, fair enough.
But anyway, I don't. That's semantics. And shit.
It's neither here nor
Yeah.
there anyway. Okay. Oh,
That is some sharp,
Thanks
clawy type things on the end of an arm.
Just think if just think if you were possibly hunted by a velociraptor or a group of them. Man,
That would be terrifying.
That'd put
Goat-sized
you-
or not.
they would put you in a world of hurt in a heartbeat, man.
Yeah.
Good thing.
Oh yeah. Fuck,
They
they
make
get
awful
attacked by a
pets.
flock of fucking, I don't know, fucking
Not
peacocks or
necessarily.
something.
They hunted in
Peacocks are
packs.
scary.
They groomed each other. They
Yeah.
actually groomed each other the same way that turkeys do now. They actually had like a folk thing going on. They would prune, and we can find by the way the bodies have landed that they actually would protect each other with their own lives. So they were
Right.
smart enough to have kinship.
Mm-hmm.
Oviraptor in particular, we found quite often, we thought that the females of the species stole other species' eggs, but we've discovered now that she was like a mother hen, and she would defend to the death her hens with her own body. And that's exactly how we find most Oviraptor females, is entombed on top of their eggs.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
I'm sorry, I missed that, Sean.
Oh, well, I was talking about how they showed the raptor on top of the eggs, but you could see where it had to have feathers because its scrawny little arms couldn't cover the eggs.
Yeah.
The
and
other thing
fe-
is the other thing is its body doesn't sustain enough body heat without the feathers to actually produce it. The other
Right.
thing is also the tips of the bones have keratin implant proteins on them, which can suggest either like proto feathers or genuine coloured feathers like we'd imagine today. That is a demonstrable fact.
Yeah, I always found the velociraptor to be fascinating, man. I mean, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, too
He's
bad
not
what's
nearly
his
as
name's not
big
here
as
to
he
see this picture. I'd love to hear his explanation of how those aren't feathers.
Well, he can't because Sean has him blocked.
I do not have Pillbox blocked, or I wouldn't have been able to jump in the other chat.
Well, maybe it's your microphone because he can't come in. He's saying he can't get in.
I can change
But
that right now.
But he said to tell you that lizards have talons and so does duck-billed platypus.
I'll tell him I'm jumping out right now, and he can jump in.
Crocodiles also guard their nests, but they don't have feathers. Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't necessarily have to have feathers to lay eggs
Of course
and
not.
and guard a nest.
That's true. That's why he's saying that. He's saying crocodiles also guard their nests.
Yeah, I understand. But what we're talking about here is, different species.
Same with fish, you know.
I wonder how fish would protect their eggs in the water, man. That's crazy.
Well, didn't you see Nemo?
Nemo. Oh man, gotta protect Nemo.
Yeah. Cool. His little fin got all fucked up. Shoot, I guess they couldn't protect him.
And I would like to make another interesting point. It's more of a question because I don't really understand the answer behind it. But why is it a clownfish can only hide in that certain plant or whatever it's called, but other fish can't do it? The plant automatically kills them.
Because it's poisonous, and the clownfish has evolved to not be susceptible to the poison.
Oh, okay.
It's an adaptation. It's an adaptation of a trait that an ancestor would have had. If we look farther back in its DNA, we might find a living or non-living family member which had a vestigial trait which may have not even been very effective or useful to it, but because the genetic marker is still there, and because population mechanics predicts that most favorable traits eventually win out, you eventually get a population of that most favorable trait.
Oh, okay.
population mechanics is the source to the answers quite often, because there's the predictions, which are usually broad predictions, but they usually come quite true, and DNA usually confirms and comports to that every single time. I'd be curious to see what the other chaps think about that.
Is Pillbox still trying to get in, Rose?
I'm texting him.
Oh, okay.
He said the room got gay-fied when Sean came in.
The room got gay-fied.
Yeah. I told him he left.
That is not a fair trade.
It's not a fair trade. Yeah, it is. There he goes.
Well,
all right, he's in the side hangout talking, so I don't know. We'll see.
Side hangout? I don't see him anywhere.
No. See, it's the other hangout I was talking about. That there's two. To every room, there's two. There's the one you see on your PC, and there's another one.
The one you can't communicate with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But other people, like, say they leave out. Like, right now, Sean is talking, but he's not in your room. But he's texting in the other chat room.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you played Fallout New Vegas, Quat?
No, I don't really enjoy first-person shooters all that much.
I think of it not as a first-person, but more of a role-playing game with first-person elements to it.
It's actually, it's third-person RPG.
Is it?
I stand corrected. Yes, it can be. You scroll out.
You can go 3 different ways. You could do third, first. You could when you want to do. Because I played the first one.
Well, I think I might. I think if it's a possible, if I'm able to play it third person, I'll go get it.
Yeah,
I think it's third person by default.
Yes.
No, you could change it. You could
change it.
Scroll right in. Yeah.
But by default it's third person.
Yes.
Okay.
I tell you what. The reason I mention it is because it's a fascinating storyline. It's a very, you get a good book and it's compelling. It's a compelling storyline. Would you folks agree with that?
Yeah, I loved it.
It's all right.
The first one, I liked it. When she had the birthday party, and
Fallout 3.
She had no, I'm talking about the first one, first Fallout.
And Truth, you're talking about Fallout New Vegas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just thought I'd mention it's such a fascinating game.
My roommate played it.
I don't know if any of you guys play the games I play, but I'll share them with you. One of them's Splinter Cell. Another one is called Hitman, which the new Hitman's coming. The new Hitman's.
I played the first one.
Yeah, the new Hitman's coming out December 8th of this year.
You misogynistic pig.
Oh, but guess what though? There's only one thing that's going to suck about it. And they're only selling it digital. That's it.
Oh, right?
You could only download it to your PS4. That's it.
See, I haven't got a PS4 yet.
And the reason why they're doing that, the reason why they're doing that is because the game is going to be so much bigger. It's going to contain a lot more missions. See, what they're going to do is they're going to make a certain amount of the game available on December 8th, and then next year when 2016 rolls around, they're going to upload the rest of the missions. So I'm assuming there's going to be a gargantuan amount of missions for this game, which I think is going to be rather interesting and challenging at the same time.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. And a new Gears of War is coming out next Christmas. And I play...
Do you like any RPGs?
Role-playing games?
Like Dragon Age or Knights of the Old Republic or Neverwinter, the originals, or Baldur's Gate, or...
I sampled
Oblivion.
Oblivion, Skyrim, Morrowind.
Yeah.
I sampled Dragon Age Inquisition, and I didn't really like it all that much.
Oh, okay. That's a shame.
See, I play
Did you like the
first-person
original?
shooters.
What about Thief 3? That's got a stealth element to it. Or
What?
even the
Which
Thief
one?
Project. Thief?
I haven't
Never
heard of
heard
that
it.
game.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
It's
Hey,
on
I'll
special
be
on Steam
I'll be
at the
back.
moment.
Okay.
I'll be back. Okay, bye guys.
It is quite a good one. It's sort of third person with a stealth combat element to it. Sometimes the best tactic is to be avoided, or knock people out without them knowing you're unawares, and hiding the bodies, all that sort of kind of Metal Gear kind of thing, really. But it's medieval, steampunk medieval. Very fascinating.
They come out with that new Metal Gear. Did you see that?
Oh my goodness, can't wait.
Yeah.
I remember the first Metal Gear on Nintendo.
What is it called? Phantom Pain or some shit?
Yeah.
I can't remember. But and my fourth game that I like to play is God of War.
Oh, marvelous.
I've beaten every single game ever made for God of War. The only ones that I haven't beat completely is Splinter Cell. Or not Splinter Cell, Hitman, the first one, Codename 47. I haven't even played it. I can't find it.
Oh. Do you have Steam, Quiet?
No.
Well, Steam's got some pretty good deals on the moment. Normally I wouldn't pimp Steam, but they're quite good at the moment.
Yeah. Well, the problem is my computer, dude. I don't have the proper software to do that stuff.
Splash out about $75, $100 on eBay or on Newegg and get yourself a decent video card, and there's no game you cannot play, my friend.
Yeah.
If you want any help buying guide, I'm your man.
Yeah. Well, what I'm doing now, speaking of money, were you the one that donated money to me a couple of months ago, Truth?
No, I haven't. I've been destitute for the last 3 weeks, but it's ironic you should mention that, because you're on my short list of people I'm going to patron. You're actually number 2. Actually, I think you're number 1 right now, because I just went and did the goddamn podcast.
Oh, well,
see.
Well, the reason why I ask is because of the fact that someone donated to me on my PayPal account, but they left their real name there. I'm not going to say their real name. I don't want to dox them, but I can't figure out who they are on YouTube.
Yeah, see, I know. It was a toss-up between
I would be bragging about.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, this is damn delay. I'm just going to shut up. You go ahead, mate.
Oh, I was going to say that I'm next to one too, and it was a toss-up between him and the goddamn podcast, and I think you're winning because Drew did those videos back in the Roo,
Oh, I can. Well,
see,
see, I'm thinking about making a response video to Roo, but I don't know what kind of an impact that's going to have on people. I mean,
I would just let it go, because fuck that guy. He's just gonna. If you say anything that is slightly, not fucking sucking his balls, he's just gonna fucking do another video talking about how you're such a piece of shit, blah blah blah.
I'm a flying monkey, and I agree with you. There is going to be no safe way of backing out of this. This TJ Kirk versus the Roo nonsense. It's becoming the new #gate. We need to walk away. We need to be united, not divided. This is nonsense.
Yeah.
Well, I am actually a flying monkey. I tell you what, every time. Sorry.
And Jenny McDermott has decided to join the fight too.
Jenny McDermott.
Who's that?
Yeah, Jenny decided her and Roo are going back and forth now. I've seen their videos.
I don't do videos, but I fucking said some shit in his comment section. He fucking got all pissy and fucking, I'm such a piece of shit, and I should fucking unsub his channel. I was fuck you. Unsub TYT and I'll unsub you.
Yeah. Well, see,
is formidable. Yes.
Well, see, I have already created a Patreon account, but I've never used it. But since you guys are more than willing to help me out on it, I'm gonna go ahead and place it in the description of my videos.
Awesome.
And then we'll go from there.
File on it.
Yeah. And my videos are coming out a little bit better, man. I'm starting to make them shorter. I want to make them shorter. I don't want to bore people with 15-minute fucking videos about a subject. You know?
No, your videos
your videos are
pretty much the
concise.
perfect fucking length.
Yeah.
Every one of them are between 4 and 12 minutes.
Yeah.
You've never rambled on.
Yeah.
And even if it's something that's boring, it's 4 minutes of it, you know. So it's not really like this guy's never gonna shut up.
Hey, quiet.
Yes, sir.
This whole thing about Rue, I kind of followed it since the Jacqueline Glenn. She did her video on comparing this Dylan kid and Gardner. And yeah, I'm a former cop, and so I have a kind of a position on resisting, which she certainly should have picked a different video than that.
But time out.
I agree.
Garner
PW, I
wasn't
agree
resisting.
wholeheartedly.
Okay,
Garner was never resisting.
Yes, he was.
No, he put his hands in his air and he said, "Why the fuck are you fucking with
Can
me?
we please
Leave me alone."
All right, I'll wait until you're done. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Me? Oh, he had his hands in the air and said, "Leave me alone." And they jumped him from behind. I don't know. I didn't see how he was resisting. He was actually he broke up a fight. What was he not complying with?
Let me explain.
Okay.
Okay. If you don't comply with an arrest, you're
What
resisting.
Arrest?
They were arresting him.
For what?
They told him he was. You didn't watch the video. They
I've
told him
seen
he
the
was
video.
under arrest. They told him he was under arrest. They were arresting him. They were putting his arms behind his back. He resisted arrest. If you don't comply with an arrest, it's resisting. And that's a fact.
I mean, I don't know.
But you don't think
I don't know.
You thought he was complying. You thought he was complying with the arrest.
No, I've done way worse. I mean, I got the shit kicked out of me by the cops, but they didn't choke me to death.
Then she should have used a video of you. All I'm saying is, seriously, they should have. I'm just saying that if you don't comply with an arrest order, you're resisting arrest. That's what a resisting is.
I suppose. But what was he being arrested for? Breaking up a fight?
No.
He
just selling individual cigarettes. Hold on, Ingrid here, please. Hold on a second.
Okay. I understand
the beginning of the story. Well, from what I understand, I could be mistaken. Don't quote me here, but from what I understood about the whole situation was the fact that he was selling untaxed cigarettes, and that's illegal.
That is correct.
But that's the thing. No, he'd been arrested for it before, and that is not why the police were there. The police were there because of a fight, and he broke up that fight and told the two guys, "Hey, you need to knock this fucking shit off and go about your business." Then the cops show up and want to fuck with him for selling cigarettes. What the fuck made him think he was selling cigarettes? If you don't see somebody selling cigarettes, if you don't fucking witness a crime being committed, you have no reason to say, well, just because you're here, you're obviously committing a crime.
Yeah.
That's fucking bullshit. That's fucking...
Well, the big issue I had with Rue, it was about another shooting altogether, and it was involving Freddie Gray.
Yeah, my issue with Rue was in fucking that video where he's all, "Oh yeah, we lost a real fucking detriment to society here," and talked all kinds of shit about this guy. And then the next video, the way he was fucking mocking the guy that was shooting the film and talking shit about all the protesters and all that shit. That's where I had the problem.
Yeah.
That's where I was how are you fucking saying you're not racist and you fucking say these things?
But that's not how the issue started. The issue started with Jacqueline Glenn.
No, that's with Jacqueline. Yeah, but I'm talking about my issue with racism is unstoppable, which goes way back before Jacqueline.
Well, this is where this issue started, where it became such a big issue. And I'm saying that she really, I could show you a dozen videos of white guys being manhandled because they wouldn't comply with the arrest. The fact that this Dillon kid did comply is not evidence of anything.
But here's the thing with the Dillon arrest, though. You have to admit it's weird. Dude was armed and dangerous, right?
Yeah, right.
Straight up armed and dangerous. Cops walk up to his car and they've all got guns drawn. And then the lead cop holsters his fucking gun and walks over to the driver's side window.
Why?
That don't fucking happen.
Why?
That don't fucking happen.
Why did he do that?
Why did he do that?
I don't know.
That's
but that's not protocol. Protocol is let me see your hands. Get out of the car, lay down, face first on the ground, hands out, palms down, fucking, and then you go over and you put him in handcuffs.
There are plenty. Okay. What I'm saying is, he was not resisting arrest at all. That's why he didn't get roughed up.
I understand that. I understand that. But I'm saying the way the arrest happened. Right? And how many of those did you take to Burger King?
I don't take people to Burger King. I don't work in that state. You're talking about a whole different state. I don't know how they do
I do understand, and I've said that.
What I do know is he did not resist arrest. So no, he's not going. They're not going to jump him for complying.
That's true.
So what's the point of her video?
I do understand that.
So what's the point of her comparison? That's my issue.
I personally,
exactly.
I never even saw that video, but
I think he was right in his criticism of comparing these two videos. I just don't think they're comparable.
Can I ask a question?
Okay.
This is for PW. You're a former cop. I'm just curious. The only problem I had with that that one video where the kid wasn't I don't know, they didn't do more at that arrest. Was whenever I've seen anything on TV,
I think you.
It's like the other guy said. They have guns drawn. Hands out of your car. When the guy gets out, throw your keys down. When the guy gets out, back up. Don't look at me. Back up. Move to your left. Move to your right. Get on your knees, get on the ground. That didn't happen, and I was kind of curious to why that didn't happen. Why they didn't do a felony stop like that.
Okay, here's my take on it. I've never seen a video in the media or anywhere where a cop was doing it correctly. Okay, if you watch Cops, that show, I see 1,000 mistakes. Okay,
right.
And the ones that actually make the media usually are bad arrests, in my opinion. They're not.
Right.
The Dillon thing. I would have been a whole lot more protective.
Right.
I don't know why he made that decision. I don't know why they made the decision to choke out Gardner. I don't know why they made the decision to shoot that little kid who had a toy gun. But these are the ones that make, the news. Okay.
Right.
There are 1 million interactions a day between cops and citizens. Okay, 1 million a day, and 99.9% of the time it's done correctly.
Right.
And I'm just saying the ones that make and for someone to take the two disparate situations, two different, almost two different cultures, okay, where these things happen, and try to compare these two and then claim racism over that issue is bullshit. That's not evidence.
But the thing is, I think the thing she was saying though is more like these cops treated this kid like he was a fucking hero.
Yeah, and I don't think they did. I think
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
I don't think so either. I really don't think that.
You can see after the arrest when they like high-fived and they were like, "Oh crap, this is over." We got him. So I don't think they were treating him like a hero.
No.
But my thing with these videos that are popping up, and I don't know if I'm going to get some shit for this, but like the one in Ferguson, Missouri,
Michael Brown.
Michael Brown. Now my whole thing was with him after I was like really up for finding the cops, really, hammering on the cops. But when it came out that the fight spilled into the police car, You don't know what's in the police officer's mind. You don't know what was in Michael Brown's mind. I think it was, in the end, I think it was a poor usage of the term racism, because I think the guy deserved, I think he antagonized the situation more than he could have.
Here's the thing. Apparently the guy had already socked him hard enough to break his eye socket. And they want to talk about he was walking at him from 30 feet away. 30 feet is not fucking far. I can cover, I'm fat and 40, and I can cover 30 feet and faster than you can put your fucking hands up and defend yourself. I don't give a fuck. 30 feet's nothing.
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree.
If you're on fly-by-night act now and you can barely fucking see and you're dazed as it is, and you've got one fucking option to stop that big-ass motherfucker from coming over and pummeling you, you use that option. I'm for it, dude. I agreed with that shit. Shoot that motherfucker. But to leave his body on the ground for fucking 6 hours or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that was part. Yeah, and for that part, I could understand the problems that people had, because there are issues in inner cities, West Baltimore. Like I've said before, I used to drive a truck through there. It's like the land that time forgot. Money isn't pumped into there. Kids there, really don't feel as if they have a future. So yeah, there's a lot of criminal mentality there. Like in the kid, it's you got to be careful on, like, when these videos pop up. You have to understand what went on, what happened before, why the police did something, right? And just to scream that, someone was killed in police custody. I think Freddie Gray, was he a good guy? No. He wasn't, right? The video that they showed on TV, they're coming from around the building, right? Before they put him in the paddy wagon, okay? Right. We don't know what happened. I don't know if they were putting him down and trying to cuff him, and somebody put a knee to his neck or something like that. But I think people are picking the wrong situations to become anti-police or stop police violence, because...
But he's standing on his own free will getting in the van, so... I don't know. They didn't break him before that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. When I saw him getting into the van, it didn't look like he was doing too good.
No, but he was standing on his own feet. They said that he was being dragged over. That's all well and fine, but when they got there, they stood him up, and he stayed up. He didn't just crumble. Yeah. And if your back's broke, you don't fucking just stay up. You crumble.
Yeah. Baltimore police have had years of
practice.
Like the Los Angeles police, the Boston police. Just because, to me, the problem is, I think the police should be able to monitor, or there should be more of a psychiatric evaluation on certain situations that police officers are in.
Hey, Patrick?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you make a good point in that, every state is different. Where I was initially a police officer was in Minnesota, and you had to have a degree to even become a cop. The city I live in, you need a 4-year degree just to apply, and it does make. And they all wear body. And what's that?
Really? A 3-year diploma?
You need a 4-year degree in the city I live in, and
is
you
that
have
for
to wear
private
a body.
dick, or is that for? Sorry, is that for the local police department, or is that for a private detective agency?
No, it's the local police.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, some police departments don't want smart people.
You're obviously not in Missouri.
And you have to wear a body. You have to wear a body camera at all times, and it has to be on at all times. That's where I live, and the state of Minnesota requires at least a 2-year degree, and then a 16-week training program, and then annual 40 hours retraining.
Right.
And I worked internal affairs for 3 years.
Wow.
So I do know.
I'm sure there's people that don't like it.
I do know the bullshit that goes on too, and I came down really, really hard on a lot of people. and it's not. It depends, like I said, on your state. You go across the river to Wisconsin. You don't need any education. You can have a criminal record and be a deputy.
Right.
And literally, you could be a high school dropout with a criminal record, and you could be hired as a deputy.
Yeah. When I moved to Oregon,
so it's different.
When I moved to Oregon in the city of Grants Pass, you had to have a high school diploma or equivalent to apply, and you didn't even have to have attended necessarily a police academy if you had they had some kind of experience or with some sort of work experience, I guess, of being a military cop or something like that. But yeah, they had ads in the paper, high school diploma or equivalent, and that kind of made me feel safe.
Well, I'll say this, PW Swivel, you got a better resume than I do. All I have is the sheriff's department.
Oh, yeah, well, hey, that's not bad. I worked with a lot of sheriffs, sheriff deputies, a lot, and they were quite good. Yeah. Especially out in the rural areas. They knew their people. They knew their people. They knew the land. Yeah.
Yeah. When I
PW, as an internal affairs, did you, without going into disclaimable information, did you ever observe an undercurrent of the kind of racism that Jacqueline Glenn was referring to in that video that Rue counted?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Marvelous.
If you're in any environment and you get close enough to the people, you're going to find elements of racism, no matter what.
Right.
And the police are no different.
Was it prevalent?
Was
it prevalent? Sorry.
No.
Was it prevalent to the point at which you could actually, it actually permeated the atmosphere? Like, for example, did it affect people's ability to do their job?
It depended on the age of the officer. The younger officers have a lot less interest in race. The older officers, though, could be, almost all of them had some sort of bias that I could observe, and it was a matter of, was it actionable or not? The comments. There were times where I would pull a guy aside and say, look, here's what I'm seeing, and if I see more of that, I'm going to come after you for one reason or another.
Just curious, PW, did your previous precinct allow for kind of an open, permissive kind of dialogue? Like in New Zealand, we quite often, white boys call a dark guy's darky, and the white boys quite often call each other honky or cracker, and that, it's kind of like a banter sort of thing.
No, it couldn't be set up in an open
Totally
forum.
good.
No, not where I live. No.
Do you even know what cracker and honky means?
Not really.
Cracker
I've been called it 1,000 times. Oh, I know what a cracker is. I don't know what a honky is.
What is a cracker?
A cracker is the whip cracker, is it not?
Yeah, the guy that beat the slaves. Slaves.
I might be Caucasian, but I'm no cracker.
A honky?
My ancestors married the ethnic Maori people. My people, in New Zealand, you know what we call the black people? We call them cousin. You know why we call them cousin? Because they are. We're one of the most integrated nations in the world. We don't have these kind of issues. We get them imported from you guys via our television and by our urban media.
Anyway, a honky is in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. If you were anywhere in the Babel Belt, walking down the road, and you heard a car horn, if you were black, you better head for the tree line, because that's the warning you got before you were run down. And that's where honky comes from. And redneck are the guys that were guarding the workers in the fields, and they'd be up on the horses looking down at the slaves, and the backs of their necks were always sunburnt.
Well, all I know is I enjoyed some crackers with my chili when I jumped out of the hangout when all that conspiracy shit was going on.
Hey, PW. PW, you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to tell you about one of my adventures. See, the thing with me is I was in law enforcement for 15 years.
Oh, okay.
And the thing with me is I always used my own personal policy, and I called it talk down before take down.
Okay.
And when the the term deadly force comes into the picture, I use it as a last resort. Literally, if someone is shooting at me, then I shoot back. That's when I use deadly force.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I try to talk them down first. And if I can't take them down, I'll take them. Or I can't. If I can't talk them down, I'll take them down. But that's usually as far as I went with it.
Yeah, I knew when I was younger, I had friends that had no problem starting shit with the police. They'd get drunk, and I had a few friends that that's how I actually found out years ago that they had that sign in the back of the police wagons in Baltimore about "Enjoy your ride, because we will," because they had that sign in the back of their trucks back in the 80s, you know. But you know, some people, no matter what is said to them, are going to resist, you know, and then cry racism when they get arrested. And that's just a fact. Because they you know, when I lived in Baltimore, and I know this for a fact because you could watch it on the news, there'd be a fire or something, and you know, somebody'd start a fire, and the fire department would show up, and the people that were in that area would start shooting at the fire department. You know, but the police would show up, right? Somebody's been shot and is lying dead in the street, you know, and the police would show up, and there's 500 people in the street, just, I don't know, a big number, whatever. There's a whole bunch of people in the street, right? Somebody saw something, but nobody will say anything, right? And then when they don't solve the murder, right? You know, people say that the police just forget about it, you know. So, yeah, there's racist cops, you know, there's racist assholes everywhere, you know. You know, that's why I think the police agencies should be able to psychologically, or I don't know, I think there should be some different testing. I don't know what that testing is, but some people are nice. You give them a badge or any type of perceived authority, and they take it, you know, as if they are the authority, period.
And it all depends on how much money you're willing to put into your police department.
Oh, yeah.
In Minnesota, you have to take the MMPI, the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory. You have to meet with a psychologist. This is prior to going into the academy. You're examined for that. The MMPI takes about an hour to take, and they do that to weed out any kind of psychological problems. And it's not a perfect system, I agree, but they do put the money into it. And in the academy, a lot of people get dismissed in the process because they're just not going to have the level of empathy, you know. Because the way I approach my job, and most of the time I wasn't in uniform. Most of the time I was in fugitive unit, and that can be a little tricky when it comes to empathy. You know, your guy is already guilty and that sort of thing, but everybody I worked with viewed even the suspect and the felon as part of the public that we serve. And my professionalism wasn't based on their behavior. It was based on my beliefs.
All right.
Okay, so you know what I mean?
I must say, PW, I find that quite heartening to hear you say that.
Okay. What's that?
I was just saying I find it quite heartening to hear you say that. That's a positive affirmation.
And I wasn't unusual. My unit was like that, but there were people, and I admit fully, there were people that did some awful things to citizens for no reason, just because they had the power, and we did our best to clean up our house.
You're aware of the problem, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Back to the Rue Glenn Schism thing, PW. I mean, I always find you always got heaps of interesting, you know, you're one of those guys who's worth listening to, I think. I'm just curious.
Okay, spread the word around, okay?
Oh yeah, preach the word, PW.
Not everybody's getting that message.
Oh well, they bloody well should, mate. Your channel's good. Look, do you think, as an ex-precinct man, that they were unduly careful with the boy who shot up that church? Like, was he given some kind of unfair precedent to treatment?
Yeah, I think the optics were bad.
Okay.
I think they should have been pushing him into the vehicle. It really didn't look right. But I understand why it happened. The more compliant somebody is, the more relaxed some cops will get. Now, this is what, North Carolina, South Carolina, right?
South Carolina.
Yeah, and that may be the way they handle things there in a smaller town.
Well, see,
I don't know.
Here's what I do, PW Swivel, if I'm pulled over by a cop, and let me know what you think.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be driving down the road, and suddenly the cop turns on his sirens. I pull over, and the moment I pull over, because my wallet itself is always on the dashboard in case I do get pulled over.
Okay.
I pull over to the side, stop the car, put it in park, turn it off, roll down my window, and I place my hands on the steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And I leave them there unless the cop tells me to grab something.
Right, and that's what cops like to see. They like to see your hands.
Yeah.
And you know that.
Yep.
And that's why you do it, because the hands are the things that are going to hurt you.
Yep.
I have noticed sometimes though, PW, the transition from the hands from the lap to the upright position is enough to freak them out because it looks like a reach for.
Yeah.
In fact, I've actually seen one tragic scene where a Hawaiian American man was actually shot because it looked like he was reaching, and it turns out he didn't even have a firearm on him. He was reaching for his license, and he was shot by the police officer.
Right. There was a case a few years ago where I don't remember the guy, but he was in New York. And he was reaching for his ID, and he was shot like 42 times. I think he took 42 bullets. And it's like you look at this and you try to explain it to your. My daughter was teaching in New York at the time, and you try to explain this to her. There's no explanation for that. And part of the problem with being a cop is that when we go back to that resisting issue with Gardner, the problem with that area. With
Gardner.
Yeah, whether or not he was resisting, if the cops thought he was resisting, in a cop's mind, you got to think, what is he going to do after he's done resisting? I mean, he's got two options: run away or fight me.
That fat fuck wasn't going to run anywhere, and he had his hands in the air.
But here's the thing: he was resisting arrest. He wasn't complying.
He said, "Leave me alone." That's not resisting arrest,
Yeah, it is.
Well, if they had nothing to arrest him for, that's not resisting.
It doesn't matter. They have the right to detain him and question him.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Actually, they really do need to inform him why he's being detained.
Exactly. If he'd said, "Am I free to go?" they would have had no choice but to say yes, because they had nothing to hold him on. But he went about it all wrong. He threw his hands in the air and said, "Leave me the fuck alone." And they don't like fucking people,
Okay. All right, we'll pick another case. If you want. But my issue is about resisting, and what goes through a cop's mind when somebody does resist arrest. And there are very few options that are going to happen with resisting. Either they're going to run, and the cop's going to have to then tackle them and chase them down, or they're going to fight the cop and maybe take his gun. Those are the only two. Those are the only two options that'll happen.
We keep running these situations like this latest one with I can't remember her name, who committed suicide or didn't commit suicide.
Yeah.
Who was being arrested for resisting arrest, which is fucking absurd.
Yeah, I thought that was. They said that some people are saying that the cop may have been threatened by her cigarette.
Put that down, sir. You're making me nervous.
Yeah, I don't know enough about that case to talk about it. What I do know is the cases that I've been involved with where people resisted arrest. They were informed that they were under arrest, and they didn't comply, or they fought. And there was only one case where a guy tried to go for my gun. And if he'd been able to get it, it would have been. This is the thing that goes through a lot of cops' minds when they're fighting with somebody. If they get pushed down, if they get taken out, there is a chance that the guy could take the gun from him.
You want to go home.
But this is where, when cops go out on the streets, this is what they're thinking. And they start that way. And it may not be the best way to think. about the public. But that is how they think, because they've seen their friends.
I've never had a habit of being pulled over, but the last time I was ever pulled over by the police was the New Year's before I left Oregon. It was around the holiday season. My wife and I were up late one night. We were trying to find a diner or something that was open to get a bite to eat. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I was at an intersection and stopped, at the red light, and or before the intersection, I had passed a police officer. I was going 30 miles an hour. The speed limit was 35. I've never had a lead foot, and he got upset for the fact that I passed him, right? So after the red light, he lit me up, right? Now, when he came to my car, or to my truck, he wanted me to be drunk. It was the holiday time, and he was pissed off in a way, and I could tell that I wasn't drunk, so he wasn't going to have a DUI, right? So I gave him my license, my registration. I had just renewed my insurance. I had the previous 12 insurance cards for my truck, okay? My new one hadn't been mailed to me yet, but, my insurance agent, who we'd had for years, it was a family insurance guy, told me, he says, if there's any problems, he says, just give me a call, and I had his phone number written down, his home phone number, right? Well, the cop didn't like that, and he kept telling me that, if I want to right now, I could just run you in, and all this stuff, and he was being really shitty to me, and it was like he wanted me to be shitty with him, so he could have an excuse to either detain me or arrest me or something. But I wouldn't let him do it.
I know those types. I do.
Yeah, and I wouldn't let him.
But a lot of them work at night, for one thing.
Yeah.
They're usually either not promotable or they're rookies.
Or they live in Grants Pass, Oregon.
Or they enjoy working nights. But and believe me, I probably know more bad cops than any of you know. I mean, I know them and I've met them and I've read reports on them, and I prosecuted some of them. And it is there, and it's there big time. When you give a gun to somebody and the power to take away their freedom, people's freedom, not everybody handles that well. And
right.
Really, okay. My point is, what do you do about it? What would you guys suggest be done about this besides, talking about it, or what, what should be done to ensure that we have officers who are professionals for the sake of being a professional? How would you do that?
Those cameras.
Cameras help. I agree.
But they can also be turned off.
And they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be, and they aren't in my city. They have to be on. The problem with the cameras they're finding is storage of the video. It really is massive.
Yeah. Right.
And
Excuse me, PW. PW. What can you tell us about arrest quotas? How much is that a part of the precinct's duty?
It's big when, especially with smaller cities, to get DUIs. That's the thing that brings in the most amount of money.
Do you think that undermines the purpose of the serve and protect motif?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's the worst thing in the world. I think seizure laws of property are it's organized crime, in my opinion. I think cities that rely on traffic laws to enhance their budget.
Go to Delaware.
I think it should be unconstitutional.
In Delaware, when I drove a truck years ago, I used to drive from Baltimore through Delaware up to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and Ocean City, Maryland. And I don't remember Garrisonville, I think the name of the town. Anyway, this town, it was this little tiny town. And the first time I ever drove through there, this guy told me, he said, if the speed limit is 30 miles an hour, don't do 30. Do 29. If you do 31, you'll get pulled over. And you would see every Saturday morning by 9 o'clock in the morning, the police used to hide in people's driveways. And you would see lines of people parked on the side of the road, like there was a produce stand or something. And all of them are waiting to get their ticket, and that was the only source of revenue for this town.
You know Gold Beach? I mean,
Yeah.
you keep mentioning Grant's ass.
Yeah, I know where
Gold,
Gold Beach is.
you know that bridge and
Yeah.
north of town?
Yeah.
That thing is a fucking speed trap. That's
Yeah.
all it is. And I got pulled over on it, and then the car that was right behind me got pulled over. And and they just nonstop, because there's a sign that says 45 miles an hour, and then right past that sign there says 30-mile-an-hour turn ahead at the end of the bridge where it
I
turns.
know what you're talking about.
And then if you pass that 30-mile-an-hour turn ahead sign going anything more than 30 miles an hour, they fucking red light you, give you a ticket. It's $138 or whatever the fuck it was. They just stack
How
them.
was that not
Angry,
entrapment?
Angry, is that a bridge? Did you say that was a bridge?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that
at the
from
north.
two different? Is that from two different cities or the same city?
No, it's the north end of Gold Beach, Oregon. It's
And
the
the bridge-
first town on 101 as you leave California, go into Oregon.
Okay, so it's two different jurisdictions, right?
No.
It's the same city.
As you're leaving Gold Beach to the north, there's a bridge at the very end, a river.
Okay. The only reason I ask is there's a similar situation here in Minnesota where Stillwater, Minnesota, there's a bridge that goes across to Somerset. And what Somerset does is they literally wait there for everybody to try to go home to Minnesota because you can drink longer in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And they nail them, and they'll take a credit card for traffic violations. Right there and then they'll take a credit. Oh yeah, no, they've got an organized system of it's criminal organization.
Yeah.
And I
How on
know the
earth
city.
is that not entrapment?
Oh,
I mean,
it is.
how is it not entrapment?
It's absolutely. But in Wisconsin, there's no way you're gonna.
Oh,
There's no way
in
Go
the
ahead.
one in Oregon, as I was leaving the court after I paid my fine, driving across the bridge, I saw the signs and I was like, fuck me, I wasn't speeding. But I didn't know I wasn't speeding until after I left the fucking courtroom heading back north.
Yeah. No, it's.
Can you guys review? Do you guys get to review decisions at the county level? I'm just curious. I'm a New Zealander.
Not once they say not once they give a verdict. I guess you can repeal guilty, just not a not guilty.
If you have the money, yeah. If you know, but it's not worth
We
it.
can-
And
It would have cost me way more than the ticket.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. If you've got the money, and a lot of people don't have the money, even if they're in the right, so they don't fight it.
because here in this country, I think that there seems to be a two-tier justice system.
Definitely.
But there always has been. I mean, that's nothing.
Yep.
It's funny. We were talking. I was listening earlier. They were talking about the government and how the government's broken and all this stuff. And it wasn't this show actually, and I was thinking, actually, it performs exactly the way it was designed. If you look at what the founding fathers designed, this is not unusual. What the government does today. I mean, it really was not designed for anybody but them, and what satisfied their needs. And I don't think it's all that. They had political parties from right after George Washington. He warned them about party spirit. So all I'm saying is that law enforcement today, 2013 was the safest year for police officers in 100-year history that they've been recording it, and it's the safest year for citizens. As bad as this system is, I'm not sure what we can do. That's what I'm curious about. Is what people think we could do besides the body cams and stuff.
Now, I'd like to ask a question about something you were saying earlier about how, a cop's biggest fear is somebody grabbing their gun and killing them. How many cases in the past, let's say 10 years, have there been of a person unholstering the police officer's gun and killing him with it?
It happened to a buddy of mine. That was about 8 years ago here in Minnesota. I mean, it's not common because it's one of the things that cops protect. My partner, I had a partner, and our rule was he goes for my gun, he gets a bullet in the head from you. That's the way it goes.
Right.
And that was our only rule. And because he's already committed, and he's not going to grab my gun as a souvenir. He's going to do it to shoot me. Now, there aren't a lot of murders anyway, statistically, in the United States. There are about 9,000 a year out of 320 million people. I mean, actual murders aren't that many. And actual cops shooting a suspect, it's minuscule. It's almost not a statistic. So these are media issues, but they're not, I would say, huge in terms of the population. I don't think any of it is. For the most part, like I said, there's 1 million interactions a day with cops, and they're non-eventful. So we only focus on a handful of issues. But it does happen. Cops do get killed. I mean, I'm not saying you're not saying that. I'm just saying, and you're correct. It doesn't very often happen that a cop loses his gun.
That's what I'm saying. That can't be the biggest thing on their mind, because it rarely ever happens.
No, it is, because it doesn't matter how rarely it happens. If you, for example, if you had a kid
get caught slipping,
I mean, you know what I mean. It's like, I'm not saying that every cop views it that way, but in a fight, you protect your gun. That's not the thing you want to lose.
I understand that fully. I'm not doubting that at all.
You're right. I mean, it doesn't happen that often. No, it doesn't. It's just in a fight, in a situation of where you feel like they're resisting, and what is their next move going to be? That's all it's really about.
I see. Yeah.
Well, see, the thing about this profession, Angry Hairpiece, is the fact that everything is so unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, something can happen at random. You know what I mean? Yeah. It could go from the most innocent traffic stop to someone dying within 10 minutes at least. Everything is so, I mean, nobody knows. It's random. I mean, it would be hard to predict if an individual is going to go for a gun, for example, because nobody knows. He could be happy 1 minute, and then the next minute he could be going for your gun, or vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That reminded me. Your videos could be a drinking game. Individuals and particular. You get fucked up watching your videos.
Oh, and what's that other thing he says too? Oh God, it's on your description for your channel. Oh shit, I forgot. You say it a lot too. Anyway.
Well, I'm changing everything around. Like I said, guys, when it comes to my videos, I'm trying to break away from certain habits.
Yeah. No, it's not an issue. I'm just saying you can make it a drinking game.
I
bet you say as it will be, or as it, or.
I bet you if you sat there with a bottle of tequila, perhaps, Angry Hairpiece, and you had your little shot glass.
Right.
You watch one of my videos that's about 4 minutes long, and I guarantee you'll be fucked up by the end of it.
Yeah. But I don't drink, so. And unfortunately, I live in the land of no fucking weed now. It's weird.
I feel for you, brother.
Man, I live in fucking Rockford, Illinois, and there's no fucking weed out here.
Move to Colorado.
Ah, man. I couldn't afford to live there.
I moved from Oregon less than a year before they legalized pot, so you know how shitty I feel.
Right,
but
same here. I lived in.
It took me 6 months, but I did find what I consider the best florist, as I call him, that I've ever had. The only thing he doesn't do is take coupons. Or checks, but nobody
or food stamps. Fuck, probably, huh?
No, food stamps.
Hey, you know what? I've known people. I lived in a Section 8 housing area one time, and I knew people that used to sell food stamps.
I never understood that.
I knew people who used to, and it used to make me mad, you know.
Yep. That's the kids' food, you know. That's the thing that made me mad about it.
Yeah. And then they send their kids around the neighborhoods, neighborhood every evening, to like show up at somebody's house around dinner. We'd have some nights we'd have 4 or 5 kids show up right around dinner time, almost every day, you know. And my ex-wife at the time, you know, she was cool about it, you know. She'd boil up some pasta and get some ragu or something, and you know, say, here, if you want this, you know. But yeah, we had a family. We had a bunch of people. There was a wedding in our neighborhood, and about 4 or 5 or 6 girls who were on food stamps pooled their food stamps together one month to basically cater the wedding reception, and a couple of them actually got busted for it because they told too many people. But yeah, you know, and that's what gives people on assistance a bad name, you know.
The problem is, the way you would agree, secular, is that they're so far below the decile level of what they need to make a living, you know, below their living wage, that they're having to compensate by breaking the law. If their minimum wage, actually was provided to them as opposed to subsidies where they have to take it from anyway, then they would have the added incentive of having earned the money themselves and not having to rort a broken system.
Well, these were people who didn't work. They had babies and got welfare. They were the people that are pointed out when people talk about welfare fraud. You know, the people that are going to buy lobster or big, you know.
Well, that's bullshit. It's the ones that sell it for 50 cents on the dollar that are the fucking problem.
Yeah.
You know, instead of feeding your kids, you're giving crack.
If somebody's on fucking food stamps and they're going to pay $30 a pound for a lobster, all that tells me is they're going to be broke a lot quicker towards the end of the month.
But if it's just you, if you're a single adult and you just get food stamps and you want to blow your fucking month's worth of food stamps on one meal, fuck it, man. Go hungry. That's your business.
Yeah. And get the shit they give you at the food bank.
The problem is even the lowest of the low of us sometimes feel like having a meal which isn't simply noodles in a tray or preheated, pre-cooked sausages. Sometimes you have a hankering for real food. And so what do you do when you financially can't support yourself if you want real food? What if it's a health thing?
Right, and it's also a cultural thing, too, that I've learned out here. You got a lot of Portuguese, and a lot of their cultural diet involves shellfish and other types of seafood that can be expensive at times, you know. But it's part of their cultural diet that they, you know.
I'll let you in a little secret, secular, my bro. There was a time where I didn't meet the requirements for the unemployment beneficiary in New Zealand, and I didn't have a job. I was living off the land. I grew pot in the bush, and I stole seafood from the shoreline, and I ate the seafood I won, and I swapped it for canned goods and milk from a local dairy. I lived like that for almost 2 years because I simply didn't have the financial means to better myself.
Right.
But if I hadn't rorted the system in that time, I mean, I am guilty. I didn't have food stamps, but I spent my beneficiary money to cover all my bills, which is the reason I was living out of my garage in the first place.
Right.
At least you got beneficiaries.
That's right, my friend.
Here.
That's right.
Dick,
that was the point I was making. If it wasn't for that lowest common denominator, which I don't actually qualify for at the moment because I'm actually earning again, but if it wasn't for that safety net, I would be one of those statistics. I would be. I would just be a statistic. And if I was living in the States, I almost certainly would be a criminal element member. And that's a shame because I've always wanted to be a member of the Army. I broke my back. The only reason I'm not an officer right now is because spinal injury is a direct no.
I've been broke, starving, and homeless, and I never broke the law about it. I'd go and I would walk from where I was camping to the store where I'd turn in cans, and on the way I would find enough cans to buy a pack of cigarettes and something to eat every fucking day.
Yeah, speaking of cigarettes, the only thing that used to piss me off about that was when somebody would walk up to me and go, can I have a cigarette? And I'm like, dude, cigarettes don't cost 50 cents a pack anymore, man. You know?
Yeah.
That's why I roll my own, you know? I mean, but, you know, people get upset, you know? Hey, can I have a cigarette? Can I borrow a cigarette?
Yeah.
No, you can't borrow.
I don't want that motherfucker back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a guy go on a full-out tantrum on me one time because I was standing in a grocery store parking lot and waiting for somebody to come out. I'd give him a ride to the store. I wasn't in a good mood. Mm-hmm. And this kid comes up to me, wants a cigarette. I told him to fuck off, you know, that cigarettes, you know, a pack of cigarettes. He was going to give me a quarter, you know. And I'm like, fuck you, man. Get away from me, you know.
Right.
He goes,
more than that.
I'm just a guy who's down on his luck, man, and you're putting me down. I'm like, dude, if you can't afford to smoke anymore, don't fucking smoke, you know, or smoke tree leaves or something, you know. Cigarettes don't cost 50 cents a pack anymore, you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well,
Portland, Oregon's like that. You can't get off the max at any station in Portland without somebody, can I get a cigarette? Can you give me a cigarette? I'm like, motherfucker, I don't smoke. I'll fucking be smoking a cigarette. I don't smoke. Sorry.
There's I leave them in my car. You know, if I go somewhere, I'll leave them in my car. You know, Providence. You go down to Providence, Rhode Island, man. You can't walk anywhere. You know, if you give one person a cigarette, you might as well just throw your pack in the air because you're gonna get fucking hassled and shit. So I leave my cigarettes in my car. I'll take a cigarette with me. And somebody will, you know, I'll say, hey, no, dude, this is my last cigarette, or I bummed this one, you know. And then they go, well, can I have shorts, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dude, how do you know I don't have fucking herpes of the mouth?
I do. Fuck, I have herpes. Sorry, dude. Can't help it.
Hey, PW.
Yeah.
I had a question for you since I have you here. That show that you were telling me about that I wanted to have.
Yeah.
I think I found some verses that were pertaining to that. I was wondering though if you could repeat what you said because I basically forgot about the.
Oh yeah.
Oh, about the criticism of Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of just throwing it out there to see what other people thought. I see a lot of I see very little actual criticism of Jesus as a person. I see it about the history of Jesus and that sort of thing, and the larger picture of it. But actually, as a person, his own personal character, I wasn't seeing a lot, and I didn't know if I was just missing out on the right videos. Hitchens did address a little bit of that, and some other people did, but I never really saw the way I view Jesus as a really flawed, kind of a dangerous person. I don't really see that in
cult leader.
You know what I mean? I threw it out there, kind of saying, what am I missing here? Because it doesn't get discussed. From what I see, right?
Would you be able to, if you get the chance, would you be able to send me some Bible verses on those?
Sure.
because I got the some Bible verses that I think fit the discussion I want to have, but I was wanting to talk with you about it, see if you can get additional ones so I could compare them to the ones I found.
You know, one of the things, you know, like I had said earlier, one of the things that I was kind of focusing on was the Garden of Gethsemane when he tried to get out of being, when he was trying to get out of being crucified. And then at the cross itself, basically saying, you know, he lost his faith. I mean, why have you forsaken me? He was questioning God. And you know, there are a lot of elements around that whole time period that I think are very questionable.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't want to die for our sin or anybody's sins, and he pretty much lost his faith at the end.
Yeah, because
when I was a Christian, I thought he was talking to the people. You know, my God, why have thou forsaken me? I didn't think he was talking to God. I thought he was talking to the people.
So he said, my God, Why?
Yeah,
though?
that's taking the Lord's name in vain.
Well, either way, you know.
I was always told that it was because Jesus came down and was took the form and the mind of man.
Yeah, I
That's
don't know.
right.
So it had the flaws of man or some shit like that.
He was in conversation with the Father.
Yeah.
And
it's schizophrenic at the very least.
Absolutely.
yeah, but I was
I think
saying,
as far as the historical character of Jesus, like Jesus as a man, right?
Mhm.
The only reference point we have is the Bible, and in the Bible, Jesus as a character, on the whole, remove God, remove any relationship he has with a imaginary friend, but Jesus as a character and as a bloke seemed to be a pretty nice sort of guy, you know what I mean?
I agree. Mike, I agree.
Perhaps that's where the no criticism can come in from atheists, I think.
But then there's Matthew 17, where he's, you know, I've come to fucking set a father against, or son against his father, a daughter against his mother, a daughter-in-law against his
yeah,
mother-in-law.
that's where he's talking about I'm not coming to bring peace but a
Peace
sword.
but the sword. Yeah. Don't think I've
Slaves
come to
obey
change the rule,
masters,
but fulfill 'em.
Ephesians.
But I think Mike makes a good point, is that the overall impression of Jesus is one of a very gentle soul who only wanted to love and all of that, turn the other cheek, and all the other things are ignored, though. But the general impression that we've been given of Jesus is that he's like Santa Claus for grown-ups.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Honestly, PW, I think that lovely-dovely hippie Jesus is a meme that modern Christians have fabricated because scriptural Jesus is far too fiendish to deal with. Scriptural Jesus is a cult leader and darn proud of it.
Yeah,
He who
I
loves his father more than me is not worthy of me. This
and
is the words of
that's
a cult
my
leader.
opinion as well. Yeah, I
I've
see
actually
nothing
seen your
but
channel, it's really cool.
Caucasian-looking Jesuses as in pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Now you're going to tell me I don't look like Jesus. You know, I'm going for that look and everything.
You look like Lebowski. You look like Lebowski. Okay?
You're much more adorable, Patrick. Much more
Dude.
adorable.
It's just too bad we'll never be able to go on Date Truth because I can't give up smoking.
Yeah,
you know?
That is a compliment, by the way.
I just quit.
Yeah, because PW, I was gonna have that show tomorrow, but I'm gonna have to postpone it because I don't got the precise information that I want yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little nuanced too. I don't think it's all. I think Mike made a very good point in that Jesus did say some really weird things. I mean, some very good things about you know, forgiveness, throwing the first stone. You know, he made some logical arguments that people, you know, I think have to take seriously.
But that's the thing, they twist that around though. You know.
But hang on, guys. We're forgetting one thing. That granted, these are some of the things attributed to the character of Christ. Although we can acknowledge and demonstrate that these concepts actually were adopted from previous theologies and from previous philosophies. For example, Confucianism. Confucianism is actually the origins. The Analects of Confucius are the origins of the first stone concept. In fact, we can prove for the adaptation of Scripture that wasn't actually in the earlier Geneva Bible, and it's actually a development of the post-King James movement, which is a mostly Western Protestant movement. It's actually not scripturally backed.
Same is true of the Golden Rule.
Yes, that's true.
That predates any of the Middle Eastern religions. So,
but
no, I'm not. I understand, though, a little bit about why people don't want to take him on as a person. I kind of get that, you know, because the imagery, they've marketed this guy really well. I just think it's a very schizophrenic person that we're talking about.
Even before the filter of history, you read the Bible. Bible's what, 2,000-ish years old, 1900, maybe 1800, if anything.
Well,
you read that book. I mean, without the filtering of history, without the ad campaigns from the Christians, that story remains the same. You know, like the story of Jesus as a character is still the same. You know, like without the filter of history.
True, Mike, but it's
Does
certainly
that
not
make
uniform, is it? It's not uniform, is it?
No, he's definitely a very flawed character, and I mean, what character in any novel isn't flawed? If a character, can you think of a character in any novel that you have ever read that is absolutely perfect? That would make, for me, that would make up for a boring novel.
Agree,
You
I
know?
can't.
But let's look at it this way. This is the central character of the argument that we
That's right.
have, right? This is the guy, okay? So I'm looking at this guy and I'm saying, okay, he didn't want to die for their sins, right? When he's crucified, he basically says, you know, why have you forgotten me? And I think he was talking to God, or his version of God, or that's how the story goes. Now this guy, his big sacrifice was to be dead for 3 days, a long weekend. Okay, that's the big sacrifice. The big sacrifice I have to make if I'm killed, okay, yes, or if a soldier's killed, you know, that's forever, okay? And you know that going in. This guy knew going in he was giving up a weekend, okay? I don't see this as...
Man, give him a break. It's a big weekend.
Okay, should you worship a guy? But would you get on your knees to this man?
No, of course not.
Okay, I'm just asking you. Just asking you, Mike. You get on your knees to this guy and worship him and devote your life?
No, absolutely not. I mean, that's...
So where did he go for those 3 days?
Yeah, well, that's just it. He comes back.
Depends on which theology you believe.
You know, I mean, I'm just saying I don't think it was a big sacrifice at all.
But where was he for those 3 days?
In the Lutheran church, they said he went to hell for 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah, he supposedly, when he died, when he was crucified and he died, he went to hell for 3 days to fight Satan for the keys to some shit. I don't know.
Well, he was seen walking around. I mean,
he didn't want to share his booze and his fucking pot.
According to one, you know. But my point is like, why would you worship this guy for any reason? Right. He didn't want to do this thing for you.
Absolutely.
You will.
And even if it was only for 3 days, he still didn't want to do it. This guy was a dick. Okay. He was basically. He makes a big deal.
He was basically.
Crying bitch.
He walks around, you know, talking, you know, judging other people, you know, basically judging the whole race of people.
I mean,
you know, condemning. Then
is there any character in any book that you would bow your knee to? You know,
what's that?
Any novel that you've ever read. There's no character I've ever read that I would bow my knee.
Yeah, he was basically saying, "You guys will worship the ground I walk on, boy."
Yeah, I mean, well, he claimed to be the Son of God. You know, he made these claims. That's crazy talk.
Yeah, but there were so many people back then that claimed to be that same exact thing.
Well, that doesn't make it less crazy.
Oh no, 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 and that's why I have a problem with Christians or people that believe it actually happened.
So that's my whole point.
Even if somebody named Jesus died or was put up on a stick, you know, or a cross or whatever,
Jesus
you know.
on a stick.
Well, you guys know what it was 3 days? You know
Hey,
3 days?
there's a lot of people that think there's a lot of people that think that it wasn't really a cross; it was basically a pole. You know,
it was a titular.
That was funny. That was funny, Patrick. Yeah. That was Jesus on a stick. Yes.
Like the next evolution of execution from
Robbins will happen.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
Like that ventriloquist guy. Matthew Dunham, I think is his name.
Yeah.
He has that one jalapeno on a stick.
Jalapeno on a stick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jeff Dunham.
Jeff Dunham. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So that was my whole thing, was to find out what people thought.
Well,
and I think I got a lot of really good information about that. I really do. I think it's worth a video.
Boy, you did hang out about that, man. There's going to be a shit storm and a half, man. You'll have.
And I would enjoy that, I think, because I think I could make a good case that this guy was psychotic.
Well, see, the thing is, the way that I want to do it is I wanted to specifically pick a certain group of people for the hangout. And if you're willing to, PW, I would like to have you when I have the hangout, if you have a chance. But when I decide to have it, like I said, I have to postpone it for a little bit. But when I decide to have it, I'll send out a notice to everybody, you know, basically when and where I'm, you know, what time I'm going to have it.
Yeah,
And
I would limit the number of people because it would just become a shout fest. And we've seen that with certain people.
That's why I got out of this hangout earlier tonight for a while.
Yeah. Well, see, I got two Satanists already picked that I want in the discussion.
Yeah.
And then I got I need to get. Let's see how many we could fit 10 in here, but I'm not gonna fit all. I'm not gonna use all 10 slots. I got 2 Satanists already. I would like to get 2 Christians that are calm, cool, and collected and want to talk about it instead of shouting. And then 2 Satanists, 2 Christians, me, and 2 more atheists.
Might I suggest Ken Jones? Just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of debate it would be like. I mean, my history with debates has been kind of disappointing. To be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to try.
Yeah, well, I can't do it. I get mad and yell.
Yeah, I'd watch it, but I would.
Yeah, because I would like to have, like, say, the 2 Satanists, like I said, you, PW Swivel, and another atheist, and 2 Christians.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you titled it, "Was Jesus a Good Man?" Because he himself said he wasn't.
Yep.
Only God is good. So I think it'd just be kind of a subtle way of taking a jab right off the get-go.
A good topic might be the polytheistic nature of the God Jesus concept. Is it through the Father or is it through the Son from which we attain salvation? That's a topic in itself, isn't it, chaps?
Well, that and the fact that God committed adultery by inseminating this little girl.
Neither one of them were married.
Yeah, but she was definitely underage.
That's adultery.
That's not adultery. No.
In the Bible, if 2 unmarried people have sex, it's not a sin.
And they're married.
No,
give her dad 50 shekels. It sounds like he owes her dad 50 shekels.
I think Joseph got cheated on. That's just she was betrothed to him. So
Mary was a little tramp.
She was. We should throw her into the conversation too.
Yeah.
I'm
with
kidding.
Mother Teresa.
Yeah, if your wife or girlfriend comes home and says she's pregnant, and you're like, how can that be, sweetheart? We haven't had sex in a while. You were on your period, or I've been working a long time, or something. I don't know. Maybe it was God.
That's what's happened. There's that girl in where is it? She got pregnant.
There's a girl that swears that she got pregnant by a Cabbage Patch Kid. It's on the news lately. Yep, I saw it on Facebook the other day. Some woman's claiming their Cabbage Patch Kid got her pregnant.
Well, since I don't believe that God inseminated Mary, the only other alternative was that she had sex with somebody. No, that's all I can think of.
Well, Joseph was so old, though, man. Could he even get it up anymore?
Was he old?
Yeah, he was supposed to be a lot older.
Maybe Mary was just so fucking ugly that Joseph was like, nah, dude, I didn't do that.
He put a bag over her head and said that.
Because
plausible deniability. I didn't fuck her, man.
Because PW, they didn't have Viagra back in that day.
I don't know anything about Joseph. I mean, I
he
really
had
have not
siblings,
read.
so.
Yeah, I have no idea about that. I know probably more about Muhammad and his little bride than I do about Joseph.
There's another one.
To paraphrase the Hitch, what's more believable, that the laws of nature should be suspended and in your favor, or that a Jewish minx should tell a lie?
That was perfect. Yeah, that's a great quote. And the thing about Hitchens is he could sum up an argument like that pretty quickly, and that's why I selected.
He could sum up an argument in one fucking sentence.
Yeah. It's like when he talked about somebody said that's offensive. That was their reply, and he said, and that's not an argument. And then basically saying, you're offended doesn't mean anything, in terms of the argument, and that's the thing I appreciate most about him. I wonder how he would weigh in on this, Jesus as a good man or a bad man or a psychotic or what, and it's probably out there. I should probably research.
He described him as a sycophantic madman with a messianic complex, I believe.
There you go. I think I'm on the side of the angels now.
That was with Frank Turek. That was a Frank Turek in 2007. Frank Turek just absolutely destroyed his own argument. It was actually quite masterful. Watching him,
I think maybe we should watch that before we have this hang up, because it's if anything, Hitchens would do it.
Is it on
in
YouTube?
the most entertaining?
It is.
Oh, definitely.
What is it titled? Truth?
I believe it's there's multiple copies of it. There's even the Christians ones, which are slightly edited, so be careful. The full one is 2 hours. I'm not kidding. They edit out the points Hitch makes, and you can even hear the after clapping. It's so disgraceful.
Right.
Simply Frank Turek versus Hitchens, first time in brackets it might be, because it was Frank Turek claimed it was his first live debate. It turns out it wasn't. It was his first live debate with Hitchens, and he got destroyed. And the worst part is Frank Turek had his own family in the front queue asking the questions, and there's this short and well-liked viewed clip on YouTube of Christopher Hitchens slaps down audience member, and that is Frank Turek's father he's slapping down. Frank Turek asks him, if this is just a life, this is all this nonsense, why do you spend your whole life telling people not to believe? And Hitchens says, of course, well, what a stupid question, and then just destroys the man in the politest possible way.
Well, that's probably worth watching then. I have most of my focus is on from the Garden of Gethsemane on to the crucifixion, and I really haven't looked at the actual 3 years of his ministry that closely. There are contradictions even within the different gospels.
PW, do you think that the concept or the development of the Judas character was anything other than basically a papist conspiracy to conspire, some kind of Jewish conspiracy in the whole messianic element? I mean, it seems to me that
I have never seen the Judas story as being that it follows a storyline where that would fit. I really always had trouble with it because it didn't seem to fit, outside of fiction.
I agree. I actually agree. I agree entirely.
Yeah, I don't buy the whole thing. And when I have seen him pictured in past paintings, he was always an African American. He was always a black guy.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of telling in its own. But no, it never really didn't feel like the story worked with that. I mean, it's in a character. Like you see a movie where like they add like the producer's daughter in some role, and it just doesn't seem to fit the storyline. And that's how I always felt about Judas. It was an awkward way of doing things. You know what I mean?
Do you think he's fabricated whole cloth, or do you think he might be a constitute to the original 12 disciples mythos that we get from the Mithras legacy?
Well, I think that's a really good question. I mean, it's like Josephus was writing a lot of these stories too. He was within the royal family, and he was the one encouraging a lot of these as a way to control the Jewish population, which was, rebelling quite well, and to split them with a new religion seemed to work out well. And I think, that doesn't really answer your question as far as how they came up, but I do think he was fabricated, whether it represented the 12 disciples or not. I do think he was an added element.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for your insights, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I just, like I said, it just doesn't. I have a gut feeling about it. It just doesn't fit thematically. That's all.
I have a suspicion, and I can make a case for it from scripture and from basically just from papist record, that I think for the most part it's an entirely fabricated character which was designed to set a narrative for the persecution of the Jews in deicide. Deicide being the ultimate crime that the papacy still accuses the Jews of today, and they can't hide enough the fact that was their mandate for 1,500 years. Deicide. Just remember. Sorry.
No, one of the things that I always kind of looked at was, if you look in Acts and other, so they talk about render under Caesar that which is Caesar. Always it's compliance with the government, right? Officials are elected. They're basically God picks the officials. I think it's in Acts that talks about this, that it's compliance for the government, compliance for slavery, compliance towards all of this stuff. That's a theme. Turn the other cheek. There's a theme in this about being compliant to the Roman government. So it kind of puts in my head, who came up with this whole religion?
That's right.
Because it certainly made them compliant, and it certainly split the Jewish community, which was in rebellion. And I kind of wonder, in my gut, if this wasn't a fabrication of the Roman Empire.
A divided people are easier to control, aren't they, brother?
Well, start looking for those issues where Jesus says, turn the other cheek, walk a second mile. He's talking about total compliance to somebody who's abusing you. Then you get into Acts where it says that the government officials are chosen by God. And it does say it in there. And it also says, render under Caesar that which is Caesar. Well, what is Caesar? Everything. Okay? I mean, literally everything.
I think this is one of the few times, PW, we see in the New Testament some of the old Talmudic pre-Canaanite pantheism coming into the narrative, because they can't divorce the fact that we're talking about multiple polytheisms here, multiple what would you call them, aspects or avatars or entities. Some entities are entities, the Yahweh thunder god entity over the mountain. El-Ololahwe, he who reigns from on high. They're talking about a thunder cloud that sits above the mountain, and that anthropomorphic, metamorphic creature becomes, more humanized as we see along on. But this is one of the first times in Acts we actually see this thing's still quite pagan, isn't it? This God.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But the whole thing comes down to control. How do you control this population? And religion is the strongest form of control because it involves a God who's unquestionable, or multiple gods, and that's where
I wouldn't
kind
be
of
surprised, PW, if the actual Judas character, and I've hypothesized this before, and I've had this argument with some really good scholars, some of them Christians, that the cult of I can't remember the guys who wore the red robes, Mithros, there was it's just escaped my mind. There was a active cult, a patriarchal cult that existed within Rome and Judea at the time, and they were quite often accused of basically devilish aspects in that. And they were a competing religion for early Christianity, the Gnostic movement in the province of Judea. I'm trying to remember what the name of they were called for the life of me.
No, I think it's fine. I think
Pharaohs.
Vaguely.
But
there were several.
Yeah.
There were several. Yeah.
Competing and just as acknowledgeable sort of pseudo cults of personality around one leader, or cults of ideology like the Christ movement became. Because for the first few generations, they like to make up that they were persecuted. They weren't. They were actively used by Jewish communities as a salve to kind of like, I suppose you could say, make people more accommodating to their occupants.
Yeah, and I think once you get to Constantine, you see an actual endorsement, a public endorsement of a religion, and look at the effect that had. I mean, the Jews lost all power after that.
But Constantine still worshipped other gods after that.
Sure, yeah. He
found that God to help him in that battle.
He was baptized on his deathbed.
Yeah, and after that, then you got the Vatican. That half of the popes were from that royal family, or the bishops. It was run by basically the same people who were running Rome.
Isn't that why it was called the Roman Catholic Church?
Well, there you go.
The Vatican was manned with a branch of the Roman government called the Cult of Empire. And when the Roman Empire changed from what it was to a Christian society, the Cult of Empire hierarchy became the first popes are first bishops and hierarchy of the Vatican. So that's kind of how it was all very convenient.
That's right.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. I just seemed to me that this ended up being very convenient for
that's right.
government. The
Pope's
entire
claim to
religion
power is an imperial one. It's actually an imperialist claim. It's based on the empirical. There's a term they use, rex something or other in Latin, which basically means king pope. The popes actually claim lineage from the emperors of Rome before the fall of the Western Empire. Remember, we're not talking Eastern Empire. We're not talking Constantinople, Istanbul. We're talking West Empire here. This is, there's that whole schism that went down during the 1200s. Where the West Empire and East Empire split because Octavian and what's his name decided that they just simply couldn't reconcile their theological and political differences. And this is actually the moment in history where the East Empire disappeared because the West Empire sold them out to the Saracens, and that's how Constantinople became Istanbul. Essentially, Western Christianity betrayed Eastern Christianity, and today's the result is Turkey. That's what Turkey is today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have no idea about all this stuff. Yeah.
And guys, I'm gonna have
another thing that gets me about the relationship between Christianity or the Bible and the Roman Empire is no matter who wrote the Bible went through the Roman Empire. It went through that whole system. I mean, the Romans were notorious for our God or our gods, our way of belief is the only way of belief. Now, how the fuck did this Bible come through that unscathed and still remain an ancient, accurate Hebrew text?
I think it's a very good question.
That makes no sense to me whatsoever, and I've never been able to figure that out.
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. And politics being what we know it is, and government being what they are, I don't have any doubt that all the compliance themes in the New Testament have everything to do with the government. And even if you look at Christians today, they're a huge conservative group who wants to keep things exactly the way they are and very compliant to the government. And you don't see them out and out, but they're not the ones endorsing weed. They're just not. Okay. They're not endorsing anything progressive, anything even slightly liberal. So I think it fits the entire theme of the Bible of compliance to authority. And that's kind of where I'm looking at it from.
Yeah. Guys, I don't want to be rude or anything, but I think I'm going to have to cut this hangout short so I can go to bed. It's like
cut it short.
Well, that's cutting it short's a bit of an understatement, I guess.
It's going on what, 7 hours, 6 hours?
Something like that. I wanted to make a real quick comment to Angry Hairpiece and Truth first. You guys, when I put that link out for my page that I was telling you guys about, on there I had set it to once a month. That's it. It's not per video. It's only once a month.
Oh, okay.
So I could put 100 videos on that feed, and you only got charged once a month.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to ask, because some of these patron accounts, it's per per episode per video and everything, and if you make 5 videos a month or something.
Yeah. Well, see, with me, you guys know how many times I post a video out on. I post a lot. Sometimes I post a lot, which is why I made the Patreon page the way that I made it. Which is it only takes once a month, so I could put 100 videos a month through the Patreon feed, and it only takes out one time. That's it.
Wow. Yeah. And that's a bargain.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I just wanted to say thank you to all you guys. I think this is a great conversation. Angry and Mike, I didn't know if you were going to say anything, and then suddenly you come up with all this shit. You were like, awesome, buddy. And Patrick, it's always great to see you, and And I meant the Lebowski compliment as a compliment. That's a compliment in my book. That's a great movie.
Oh.
That's a great
Oh,
character. Right?
And Patrick.
The only thing that I wish more of Quiet's hangouts, because that's why I left earlier, because there was a few people that I saw jumped in, and when the third person jumped in, I just jumped right out because I've enjoyed this last part of the hangout that I jumped back into more than Scream Fests. I mean, I honestly don't come on hangouts to lose my shit. This is the first Quiet Atheist hangout I've been in where I haven't lost my shit.
Well, that was what's his name just bulldogging the conversation earlier.
Yeah, and where there's
He
no
was pissing
discussion,
me off,
because,
too.
you know, and then other people jump in that have that same point of view and stuff, and I'm like, I don't get on these things for that. You know, I mean, you know, my blood pressure can't take it much.
But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go for the night, guys. Like I said, I'll probably, let's see, I might have one more hangout later on tonight because it's already morning over here. And then I'll probably take a break after that and make some videos and work on some more projects. But thank you all for being here. I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
And
thank you, chaps. Great conversation.
All of you guys
Truth, it was good to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All of you guys be safe and be sound.
Bye-bye.
Kia ora,
All right, dude.
We'll see you later.
See you.